time to present Scott DuPont to bring you another episode of Finance Your Movie with tips and strategies to help you get your money to tell your story. It's time!
Here with Brad Wilson today on Finance Your Movie. Brad is a longtime producer, member of the Academy, Television Academy, and we're here to talk about his latest movie, The Furry Fortune. Welcome, Brad.
Thank you. It's really great to be here. I think you do such a great job. And, you know, I was just thinking before we talked that what you do helps so many like young up and coming filmmakers, but even old dogs like me can learn new tricks, you know, and I always try to keep myself open like I know you do. So you just do a great job. It's really a pleasure to be here with you.
Oh, thank you. I think I myself and our audience are going to learn a lot from you. For a quick shout out to Andrea McKinnon from AMCK PR for hooking us up here.
She's terrific.
So before we get to The Furry Fortune, which we're definitely going to talk about and how you put it all together, and your about 24 producing credits that I could find. You probably have done more movies, but I want to kind of take a quick little segue because I'm dying to know, how did you hook up with one of the most legendary Academy Award winning actors and producers, Robert Duvall?
It was a freak thing, really. I had a whole other career going in Dallas and Fort Worth, Texas. I was a radio DJ. They always told me I had a face for radio, and now people can see that. You know? But the guy that gave me my first job in radio got out of radio years later, got into the Teamsters Union in Dallas, and was driving people on a movie Duvall was doing just south of Dallas called Tender Mercies. He later won the Academy Award for it. So he calls me, so would you like to come down and see the filming? I said, I'd love to, you know, and meet Duvall. Well, I met Duvall and we really hit it off. He was developing a film, wanted to, that about a Pentecostal preacher, an evangelist. And I was able to help him a lot because I knew a lot about the subject matter and knew a lot of those guys. And he came down like 13 times one year, I think, to visit, and we'd do research. And so we built that friendship. And that movie, by the way, later became The Apostle, which
I remember that movie.
Nominated for an Academy Award. But after about 3 years of being friends, we started talking about going to work together, and he offered me a job. And I remember I always tell people this. I was at my mom's house one night, and I saw this book on her coffee table. I just opened it up. I'm kind of paraphrasing, but it said, of the saddest words a pen or mouth are the words "what if." And right there, I said, I'm gone. You know, I'm gone. And thank God it worked out good. I moved to New York City. I was like Jed Clampett from the Hillbillies, and now I'm in LA.
So it says on some of the movies you worked for about 11 years that you were an assistant. What were you doing? Were you working in his office? Were you on set?
I was on set. Yeah, I went all over the world with him to work and do appearances and things like that. So I did everything really, and then eventually it was really strange. You know, he had already won the Academy Award, but we could not get anything going in New York for some reason. Now I think that's changed. So he said, look, if we're going to be serious about this, I'm going to have to move you to California, move you to LA. So that's what happened. We moved our offices here. He upped me to the VP of Development and Production to run the company, and things started happening when we were out here.
Very cool. Yeah. I'm going to ask you about something about development a little bit later. So
okay.
Let's fast forward a little bit, or actually there's the time kind of overlaps a little bit, but let's go back to the late 90s. And I want you to share, just pick one of your first 2 or 3 films, if it was a lower budget, and tell us how you developed that, or how you or Robert Duvall or your team raised the money. Because that's what our audience want to know. They want to know how you got your first couple of films made.
Yeah. Well, the first one I attempted to get made was The Apostle. I worked on that every day of my life for 11 years, and it never happened under my watch. And everybody in this town turned it down. We had, as you put out the net to start raising money, you hear every story in the book. There's a lot of scams out there. There's a guy that's a director now, Rod Lurie, who was actually, I don't know if he was a newspaper guy or what, but he wrote a book called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And there's almost a whole chapter devoted to Duvall and I on a big scam that we went through with people basically scamming us for some reason. And I think Kurt Douglas, Michael Douglas, are in the book. It was very interesting. So sadly, that never happened under my watch. But I guess the first movie that I was able to finance with private investors was a family film called The Ghost Club. And it starred Britt Robertson. That was really her first movie, and now she's a big star now. And that's what we did. And um,
Was that
most of
just calling people up? Was that getting referrals? Was it just sending out business plans? What was the process like on your first?
all of the above, all of the above. And I did up until what we're going to talk about in a few minutes with Furry Fortune. This is the way I've always done it. It's the only way that's ever worked for me. And that is to just think about the like the theme of the movie. I did a basketball movie, for instance, a few years ago, raised the money, and I tried to think about anyone I knew who may be interested in that world of basketball and just start there. And with friends, I try to say to them, look, I'm not asking you to invest. If you want to, that's great. But do you know someone that you could refer me to? And that usually starts the ball rolling somehow, and some are easier than others. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. But if you prepare yourself, and like you said, the business plan is very important. I think one of the big mistakes people make that I've seen is they will just wake up one day and said, hey, we're going to be a director, we're going to be a producer, and we have this script, we're already talking to our family. That is just the worst possible thing. You've got to have a business plan and present it to investors, because it's called show business. Show business. And the real honest to goodness investors that I've seen are the ones that want to know how much money you're asking them to give and how and when are they going to get it back. I love it when they cut to the point like that, instead of, well, let's read the script and this and that. Most people don't know, and it's not their fault. Most people don't know how to read a script. They're used to novels and things, and so that's always kind of a red flag with me. I don't mind sharing the script, happy to share it, but it's not like one of these people that says, what are you looking for, and how and when am I going to get it back? There, I know it's a real investor.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up, because I was talking to, I'm in the trenches every single day, and I was
Yeah,
talking to a husband and wife team today, and they had a whole bunch of questions about the business plan. And I see that as a positive, because if they're
totally.
asking any kind of questions and you can answer them honestly,
Yes.
not
Yes.
hype, fluff, and any of that stuff, that's a really good sign.
It's a great sign as long as they're asking questions. And I found that in my business plans, a lot of those questions are answered. And then after they read the business plan, I really want to try to jump on a phone call with them and talk to them more about it and answer any other questions they have. I also, if someone introduces me to a possible investor, I tell them, don't try to sell it. Don't try, let me get on the phone, because not that I'm any expert, but I mean, not that I'm a great closer or anything like that, but I have been in this business a long time. And that goes a long way too with investors, knowing it's not your first rodeo and that you do have a track record, like you. And you're totally right. If you can get them asking questions, and that's a good, and it's not brain surgery. People say, well, I don't know about movies. I may know about the oil business or real estate or something. Well, it's all basically the same kind of thing, only in the films you have something very tangible. It's not like selling radio advertising or so. You have something, which I did before, by the way. It's something tangible that keeps giving. It just keeps on giving forever and ever.
Yeah, that's one of the many exciting things about the film business is the
Yeah,
residuals.
yeah.
So let's jump into the Furry Fortune. It looks I saw the trailer. I haven't seen the movie yet. I can't wait to see it. I'm probably going to watch
Oh,
it this week.
thank
Um,
you.
I understand that was a fairly low budget, about $1 million or less, correct?
Yes. Yeah, it was under 1 million. Yes.
Okay, so you start calling friends and asking if they know someone who's a dog lover, or tell me the story.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. I first of all, we did equity crowdfunding for this thing, not crowdfunding, but equity crowdfunding. And the difference is, like in crowdfunding, you may get an autographed script or whatever as a perk. In equity crowdfunding, you still get that, but you also own a piece of the movie.
So it's not a
And
donation, it's a small
no,
investment.
it's a small investment, which I'm thinking to myself, well, why not do that instead of regular crowdfunding? And a number of years ago, I met a guy named Kendall Almerico, and Forbes magazine and some of the other business magazines have called him the #1 equity crowdfunding guy in the world. And he
Wow.
actually rewrote some of the new laws with the Securities and Exchange Commission to allow this equity crowdfunding to happen. So I met him. We really liked each other, kept in touch, and I called him one day. I said, "Man, I think I've got something here," because my sales agent is always saying, "If you ever find a family movie, a good family movie, let me know, and especially if there's a dog in it." So I called him and we talked about it, let him read the script, and we started the process of he said, well, let's try this. He had never equity crowdfunded a movie before, all kinds of other businesses, but never a film. And he said, I think this is the one that we can start with. So that's what we did. And it's quite a process. You have to raise a little seed money at the beginning because you have to do like about a 3-month advance run before you actually start the actual funding process. You first off, you got to file the papers with the SEC and all of that stuff, and then you have to bring on a social media person to start the buzz about the movie that continuously gets it out there, and then you have to bring in a production crew that specializes in promos and things like that to do promos for the film that we can use in the fundraiser. It's a whole process, but it's very interesting. And the thing that really I think really got my attention more than anything, and this because, like you said, you're in the trenches every day. But we usually deal with people who can afford to make an investment like this. In this equity crowdfunding in Furry Fortune, we had people that could we had levels that were like $100. Anyone
Wow.
could invest for $100, and that never happens. I mean, that just
Yeah,
does not
yeah.
happen. And that really interested me. And we ended up with, I think, something like 1,800 investors. It's a process. You got to work it and really stay on top of it, but it can happen. And I think this new movie, I didn't realize that new movie with Jim Caviezel is getting a lot of attention now. I didn't know this, but I think they crowdfunded that whole thing.
I think
I,
they did. I think they did
yeah,
through the
yeah,
Angel Studios network.
that's right. That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
And
Yeah,
$40 million in the first week. Congratulations to all of them. I'm
I love
really,
that.
really psyched for those
I love
guys.
that. You know, I guess I'm a bit jaded. I, I really don't think Hollywood really can see past the Hollywood Hills or the Statue of Liberty. They forget about that, all that country in between. Now, so I mean, they're good about
Flyover country.
flyover countries. They're great about these big tentpole movies and things like that. But other movies, I just don't think they get it, And I think that's where guys like you and I could come in, and other independent filmmakers, to fill that void. And I think there is a void.
Yeah. We're running into a time situation here, Brad. Can I hold you over for just a few more minutes?
However long you want. Yeah, I'm fine.
Awesome. Thank you so much.